Gaza lies in ruins as Israel intensifies its large-scale demolition campaign, leveling the city and wiping out civilian infrastructure. Experts warn of violations of international law. The plan to establish a humanitarian city amid the devastation has raised concerns over forced displacement and permanent control.
Since the ceasefire with Hamas ended in March, Israel has carried out widespread destruction across the Gaza Strip. Many densely populated neighborhoods that were once home to tens of thousands of civilians have been flattened within just a few weeks. Satellite imagery reflects the severe level of destruction in areas where the Israeli military claims to have operational control. Much of this destruction is not the result of direct combat, but of deliberate demolition campaigns, including both damaged structures and intact buildings. Verified video footage shows Israeli forces blowing up high-rise buildings, educational facilities, and other infrastructure, sending up massive clouds of dust and leaving behind heaps of rubble. Legal experts state that these actions may constitute war crimes, violating the Geneva Convention's provisions on protecting infrastructure under an occupying power. The Israel Defense Forces, IDF, assert that their military operations comply with international law. They accuse Hamas of concealing military assets within civilian areas, stating that property is only destroyed when there is an imperative military necessity. The city of Rafah, near the Egyptian border, has borne the brunt of this campaign. In recent weeks, Israeli forces and contractors have destroyed vast areas there. Controlled explosions, along with excavators and bulldozers, have wiped entire districts off the map. Israel claims it is maintaining military control over large swathes of the Gaza Strip, many of which have now become militarized zones or have been forcibly evacuated. Tel al-Sultan, once a bustling center of Rafah, housed the city's only specialized maternity hospital and a care center for orphans and abandoned children. Though many buildings were damaged by bombing and shelling, some structures remained standing. However, by July 13th, the intensity of destruction increased, resulting in the total demolition of previously damaged buildings, leaving only a few facilities, such as the hospital, still intact. In the neighboring Saudi neighborhood, once home to the city's largest mosque and many schools, demolition activities are also underway. Not only Rafah, but also other areas across the Gaza Strip, which had previously avoided direct attacks, are being leveled. In Khuza'a, a farming town about 1.5 kilometers from the Israeli border, with a population of around 11,000 and known for its crops, most of the town had been leveled by mid-June. The IDF stated it destroyed 1,200 structures there, claiming the area served as a Hamas terrorist infrastructure. A similar situation occurred in Abasan, al-Kabira, home to around 27,000 people before the war. Satellite images from May 31st and July 8th show that a vast area was wiped out in just 38 days. Israel has established security zones and military corridors that separate areas of Gaza, destroying buildings along and near these newly created routes. One such corridor bisects Khan Yunis from east to west, including Khuza'a and Abasan al-Kabira. Since the beginning of the war, observers have suggested that Israel may be seeking to create a buffer zone by flattening areas near the border. However, many recently destroyed areas lie deep within Gaza. In Khuza'a and Abasan, an agricultural settlement about 7 kilometers from the Israeli border, nearly all remaining structures have been destroyed since May 17th. A video shows high-rise buildings there being flattened in a controlled explosion. An IDF spokesperson stated, as widely documented, Hamas and other terrorist organizations conceal military assets within densely populated civilian areas. The IDF identifies and destroys terrorist infrastructure located within buildings in these areas and elsewhere. Some human rights lawyers argue that this large-scale demolition campaign may amount to war crimes. Eitan Diamond, senior legal expert at the Diakonia Center in Jerusalem, emphasized that the Fourth Geneva Convention, which typically includes protections for civilians in wartime, provides little legal basis for such actions. Diamond said, "International humanitarian law prohibits the deliberate destruction of civilian property during armed conflict, except under strict conditions of absolute military necessity. Destroying property due to fears or speculation about its possible future use, e.g., that it might be used to launch future attacks, falls outside this exception. Professor Janina Dill, co-director of the Oxford Institute for Ethics, Law, and Armed Conflict, stated that an occupying power must manage territory for the benefit of the local population, and rendering the territory uninhabitable runs counter to this principle. However, some analysts defend Israel's campaign. For Gaza's residents, this destruction is a catastrophic tragedy. Mu'taz Youssef Ahmed al-Absi, a resident of Tel al-Sultan, said his house had been completely swept away. I had just moved into my new home a year before the war began, and I was immensely happy with my house, holding great hopes for the future. Now, it has been completely destroyed.